All right, with great pleasure, let's bring in Ben Shapiro, editor emeritus at the Daily Wire and host of the Ben Shapiro Show. Ben, thank you for this very much. So, Jim, Ben, again, stepping back for some perspective on this, is this Israeli attack, incursion, whatever, is this about stopping their nuclearization, slowing it, stopping it, or is this about regime change and the possibility of a free Iran down the road? How do you look at this, Ben Shapiro?
Well, I mean, the Israelis have said, and I think that they are correct, that it's about ending the existential threat to the state of Israel. So what that would mean is permanently ending the Iranian nuclear capacity, defenestrating the military to the point where they're no longer a threat regionally against Israel. For folks who believe that this is going to touch off a regional war, it's important to recognize a regional war has been raging since October 7th, 2023, when Iran activated literally every terror proxy in the region to attack Israel. Israel systematically destroyed each one of those terror proxies, from Hamas to Hezbollah, which is why it is currently flying sorties over Iranian airspace, essentially unimpeded. And so Israel's goal here is to end the Iranian nuclear regime. Now, if that requires the defenestration, the toppling of the regime, that will come from within Iran. So far, Israel has withheld and is saying that it will withhold right now attacks against the Ayatollahs themselves. They've instead attacked top heads of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. They've been attacking the nuclear facilities. But if Iran chooses to escalate by continuing to fire missiles into the heart of civilian populated areas of Israel, then obviously other targets are going to be on the table, and the Israelis have said as much.
I mean, I was going to ask, Ben, is it wise for Israel to leave the Ayatollahs alone? Israel has pinprick bombing capabilities, as we all know. And is it possible, no matter what happens, so you denuclearize or slow it down, as long as the mullahs are in power there and it's this police state and there's no freedom and so forth, it'll just be again and again. We might maybe buy another year or two or three, but it'll keep coming back. That's the part of it that, and I'm not smart enough to know the answer, but that's the part that worries me, Ben.
I mean, listen, engineered regime change is extremely difficult, but Israel has certainly set the preconditions on the ground for the Iranian people to rise up. And Prime Minister Netanyahu this evening put out a message to the Iranian people, essentially asking them to do so. I think it's worth noting here that the Iranians shut down the internet, and they did that for a reason. That is because they do not want the Iranians getting outside information on what's happening in the country, and they certainly don't want the outside world to understand what's happening inside Iran, and they don't want Iranians coordinating with each other at all. This is the weakest the Iranian revolutionary regime has been since its inception in 1979. They've never been more vulnerable. No one is interested, for example, in a large-scale use of ground troops. What that means, the Iranian people, if the regime is going to be toppled, they're going to have to do that themselves. Whether Israel goes after the Ayatollahs, which, again, that may be on the table if Iran continues to escalate, or whether that comes from internally the Iranian people themselves, obviously would be better for the region if the Iranian regime were different.
And it came up earlier in the show, Ben Shapiro, but it seems to me for the Mossad and the other Israeli clandestine forces to do what they did in Iran, there had to be Iranian collaborators on the ground. Your thought on Iranian collaborators?
Well, 100%. I mean, there's no question that Israel has honeycombed Mossad agents throughout Iran. But not only that, there are a number of people on the ground in Iran who, again, hate the regime, are sick of working for a regime that has launched what is the most catastrophic surprise attack on itself since Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor ended with the complete end of the Japanese regime. October 7th is going to be viewed historically very much the same, an own goal of historic proportions by the Iranians here. And by the way, huge credit to President Trump, who has handled this better than any president in American history possibly could have handled this, because it was President Trump who basically gave the Israelis the material that they needed to perform the operation, who has stood shoulder to shoulder with the Israelis, and who made clear to the Iranians there was an off-ramp if they wanted to take it, but also stood by the Israelis when it came time for Israel to make the move.
Yes, unflinching, Ben. Ben Shapiro, thank you. I hope you'll come back to the show. We appreciate your input very, very much.